They say silence is golden, but the silence that is coming will be shattered by something far greater than gold. It will be broken by the very voice of God, a sound not born of this earth, not crafted by human lips, not caught in a melody or hidden in static. It will come from the heavens, from the throne itself, and when it does, it will change everything. Not some things, everything. The trumpet shall sound. Now, don't think of some distant religious idea, some symbolic imagery meant to inspire poetic emotion. No, this trumpet is not a metaphor. It's not philosophical. It is real, literal, audible, piercing. It is the sound that divides eternity, the sound that separates the redeemed from the forgotten, the righteous from the rebellious. It will not come with warning sirens from governments, no tweet, no breaking news banner. It will come when the world least expects it, because that's exactly how it's meant to be. It will not ask for your attention. It will demand it. It will not ask for permission. It will take what belongs to the King. The sound will descend like fire into a sleeping world, and those who walk in darkness will not even know what hit them. But for the few, the remnant, the watchers, the ready, it will be the call they've waited their entire lives to hear. You see, the world is asleep, spiritually sedated, hypnotized by the glow of screens, by the rhythm of consumption, by the lullaby of false peace. The enemy doesn't need to shout when the church is already whispering. He doesn't need to chase you when you're walking toward the cliff. But that sound, when it comes, will shake even the graves. It will interrupt death. It will break open what man sealed shut. And the dead in Christ shall rise first. The world will still be scrolling, still arguing, still debating theology in chat rooms, still mocking, still building empires of self, but in one divine moment gone, not drifted, not faded. Gone, that is the power of the trumpet. It will reach into the dust and call forth the saints. It will pierce through the veil and pull the living upward. It will stretch across continents, bypass governments, override frequencies, and ignite the skies. But here's what most don't understand. It's not a trumpet of judgment. Not yet. It's a trumpet of invitation, a trumpet of fulfillment, of covenant, of promise. It's the sound of the wedding call, the sound that says, "Come up here," the sound that says it is time. The rapture isn't an escape, it's an appointment. And appointments don't wait for convenience. They don't pause for your career. They don't delay for your doubts. They arrive when they are appointed to arrive. This is the sound that splits the bride from the world. The sound that declares this is not your home. And once it sounds, there is no rewind, no do-over, no negotiating with heaven. It is the closing of the age and the opening of forever. Friend, do you understand that in a single heartbeat everything you know can change? The people you pass on the street today, you may never see again. That job you're striving to get, the house you're trying to build, the arguments you're clinging to, they will all vanish into irrelevance when that trumpet sounds. And if you're not listening now, you won't hear it then. That's the tragedy, that people expect God to shout over their distractions. But he doesn't compete with your idols. He speaks in stillness. He trains your ears in the quiet so you can discern the sound in the chaos. And those who have made space for him in their hearts will know it the moment it comes. You won't need anyone to explain it to you. You won't say, "What was that?" Because your soul has been waiting for it. You've dreamed of it, wept for it, prayed for it, and when that moment comes, your feet will not remain grounded in the soil of this dying world. You will rise, and while the earth trembles and systems fail, while leaders collapse and headlines spin, you will be caught up, drawn not by gravity but by glory. All because you listened for the sound. The trumpet shall sound, and just like that, the moment unfolds. Not a dream, not a parable, but history's most literal turning point, the lifting, the vanishing, the catching away. Not in fear, not in panic, but in glory, In a split second, without warning, without preparation from this world's systems, millions will be gone. The world will look for answers, but there will be none that make sense to those who do not believe. Because this event will not be political, it will not be scientific, it will not fit into their frameworks. It is not something that can be traced, tracked, or contained. It is the divine reaching into the soil of the fallen and pulling out what belongs to him. There will be no announcements made in the heavens, no flashes of red alert across the sky, no governments issuing press statements. No, this is a moment sealed by eternity, a transaction long prophesied, a wedding day set before the foundations of the world. The bride will rise. This is not mythology. This is not the language of spiritual imagination. This is literal. This is the fulfillment of the promise Yeshua made when he said, I go to prepare a place for you, and if I go, I will come again and receive you unto myself. That is not poetic. That is legal, it is covenant, and the one who made that covenant will keep it. There will be a sweeping of souls upward, not through magic, not through technology, but by the breath of God. His voice will call, and those who know that voice will respond. They won't hesitate. They won't look back. They won't ask questions. They will go, because they are His, because they have oil in their lamps, because they've been watching through the night while the world slept. They will rise not in their own strength, but by the command of the King, their bodies transformed in an instant, corruption putting on incorruption, mortality swallowed up in life, no more sickness, no more aging, no more tears. The flesh will give way to glory, and they will rise to meet him in the air, not symbolically, not metaphorically, physically, spiritually, completely, but what happens below. As the lifting takes place, as the redeemed rise, the world will be left in a silence it has never known. A strange, heavy silence, the kind that follows great loss, because the salt of the earth will be gone, the restrainer removed. The prayers that once held back the flood now ceased, and the earth will feel it. There will be confusion, pilots missing from cockpits, drivers gone mid-traffic, families ripped in two, children vanished, cities destabilized, economies jolted. But worse than all of that will be the spiritual vacuum, the presence of God's people removed from the earth. A light snuffed out not because it failed, but because it was taken to where it belongs. Some will try to explain it away. They'll say it was mass hysteria, alien abductions, a new evolutionary leap. They'll run to the microphones and say, this is the next step for humanity. But deep in their bones they will know. They will know what really happened because someone told them once, someone warned them, someone shared the truth, and they laughed, but now it will be too late. You see, the lifting and the leaving are not just about escape. They are about distinction. They separate the prepared from the distracted, the awake from the asleep, the bride from the crowd, those who loved his appearing from those who didn't even notice his absence. The world will not just lose people, it will lose intercessors, it will lose worshippers, it will lose the ones who carried light into darkness. It will lose the very presence it mocked, and the Spirit of God, who once hovered over the chaos, will now allow the chaos to reign. For a time, because the bride is gone, the guests are gone, the door is shut, but the ones who rose, they won't look back. They won't mourn what's behind them, because before them stands the bridegroom, the King in all his beauty, and they will know that every tear, every loss, every battle, every moment they chose obedience over comfort, it was all worth it. This is the moment we live for, not for applause, not for status, not for safety, but for this, to hear the words, "Well done, good and faithful servant." To be with him, not just in spirit, but in body, in presence, in glory. This is the reward of readiness, the fulfillment of the promise, the lifting of the bride, and once it happens, there is no going back. And then it happens, the ones who were taken are gone. The world that mocked their warnings, silenced their voices, and dismissed their prayers now finds itself in sudden, deafening silence. The salt has left the earth, the light has been lifted, the restrainer who held back the flood has been removed. And what remains is a system still standing on the surface, but cracked to its core. A world still spinning, still talking, still buying and selling, but now hollow. This is what happens when the soul of a thing is pulled out of it. The body might move for a moment, but it's just muscle memory. It doesn't know it's dead yet. That's what the world will look like in the days after the rapture, functioning, but without life. Breathing, but without purpose. Still operating, still trading, still broadcasting, but all under the weight of an absence that can't be explained away. You see, the world has grown dependent on the very people it rejected. The righteous weren't the problem. They were the covering. The prayers of the saints were the thread holding the fabric together. The worship in the unseen places was the fragrance that kept judgment at bay. The truth spoken behind pulpits and in the quiet corners of coffee shops was the light keeping the darkness from overtaking the land. And now that light is gone, and the system, this great machine of man, built on pride and power, will not know what to do, because it was never designed to run without the presence of God. The laws, the markets, the governments, the religions, they all assumed the future belonged to them. That time would always continue as it had before, but now they are left behind in the vacuum of divine absence. And the system begins to fail. In the days that follow, you'll see chaos wrapped in order, a strange mix. News anchors will smile while reading scripts they don't believe. Politicians will preach unity while looking into cameras with panic in their eyes. Religious leaders who missed it will stand before their empty congregations and try to explain why they're still here. The world will rush to fill the void, but it cannot, because the only thing that filled it has been removed. Make no mistake, there will be explanations, deceptions, speeches. They'll say this was a cosmic event, a natural evolution, an alien rescue, a thinning of the herd, a leap forward for the few who remain. But the lies will be as empty as the streets, because deep down, even the ones who didn't believe will know. They'll remember that neighbor, that preacher, that stranger who once said, "Be ready," and they'll remember how they laughed. But now the laughter has turned into fear, and fear into confusion, and confusion into control. Because when truth is gone, all that's left is power. And the world will not remain leaderless. It will not float in confusion forever. Out of the ashes, a figure will rise. Charismatic, brilliant, a man with answers, with a plan, with words like honey and policies like chains. He will speak peace while preparing for war. He will be hailed as a savior by a world desperate for direction. But he will be a wolf clothed in the skin of hope. This is the moment when evil no longer needs to hide, when agendas no longer wear masks, when darkness walks boldly through the halls of power. Why? Because the ones who would have stood in its way are gone. The conscience of the earth has been taken, and what remains is a playground for deception. The system will adjust quickly. Too quickly, new currencies, new laws, new identities, a world united under fear disguised as unity. They'll call it progress. They'll say, finally, we've evolved beyond religion, beyond hate, beyond division. But in truth, they will have only fallen deeper into the trap. And those left behind the footlet Elodon supports that held the palisade together, not just in the economy, not just in the news, but in their spirits. The unease, the sense that something has broken that can't be fixed, that something has been removed that cannot be replaced. The world will continue, but it will never be the same. It will never know peace again, though it will speak of it often. You see, when the righteous are removed, it's not just people who vanish, it's protection, it's covering, it's mercy, and now judgment begins to take its seat, slowly at first, subtly, but surely. The system, as it stands, cannot bear the weight of what's coming. It was built on sand, and the tide is rising, and the world is not ready. And in that vacuum, in that eerie stillness left behind, the world will cry out for answers. Desperate, shaken, willing to believe anything, anyone, so long as the pain stops, so long as someone explains what just happened. And into that silence, into that global ache, he will rise. He won't look like a monster. He won't speak in threats. No, he'll come as everything the world thinks it needs: charismatic, intelligent, compassionate, a man of peace. A unifier. He'll speak not with fire, but with silk. He'll offer solutions where others only gave speeches. He'll seem to bridge religions, reconcile nations, calm the panic, stabilize the markets, and speak of a new age of enlightenment. And the world torn apart by loss, paralyzed by fear, will embrace him, but make no mistake, this is not the rise of hope. It is the rise of the false, for everything he presents as unity is only a mask for control. Everything he offers as peace is only a setup for war. Every word that sounds like love is soaked in deception. He will not come alone. Behind him will rise a new order, a global structure, a system with no room for resistance, no place for righteousness, no tolerance for truth. And they will call it progress. They'll say this is the future of humanity, that we've evolved, that the old religions, the old prophecies, the old ideas were holding us back, that now we have finally stepped into the age of man. But they will not see that they are being led not into light, but into darkness, not into life, but into destruction. And in the middle of it all, a new mark will rise, not just a symbol, not just a technology, a line in the sand. A pledge of allegiance, an invitation to belong, on the condition that you bow. You won't be able to buy or sell without it. Not because of inconvenience, but because control has become the currency. Faith will cost you everything, and the world will love him for it. They'll sing songs about him, build statues, quote his words like scripture. His face will be everywhere on the screens, on the buildings, in the hearts of a people who traded truth for security. He will be worshipped, not metaphorically, but literally. He will become the center of a new religion. And the moment the world bows, it will cross the threshold. What began as deception will end in destruction. But for those who refuse to follow, for the ones who wake up too late, it will be a time of choice like never before. To believe will cost you your life. To speak truth will mark you for death. And yet even in this dark hour there will be light. There will be those who rise up not in rage, not in violence, but in faith. They will not be many. They will not be celebrated. But they will be true, and the enemy will hate them for it, because they are a reminder that not everyone bowed. Not everyone sold their soul for comfort, that even in the midst of judgment, God still has his remnant, still has his witnesses, still has those who would rather die with truth than live with a lie, but the cost will be great. This will not be like the days before. The time of grace has shifted. The window has narrowed, and every decision will echo in eternity. And the man, this man the world adores, he will turn, slowly at first, quietly, but he will show his teeth. He will demand what he only suggested before. He will take by force what he once offered in charm. And the world, by then too deep, too dependent, too seduced, will follow him into the abyss. This is the great tribulation. This is the time spoken of by the prophets, the apostles, and the Messiah himself. A time like no other, a time of wrath poured out, of seals broken, of trumpets blown, of bowls emptied, a time when heaven shakes and earth groans, when stars fall and mountains tremble, and even the mightiest men cry for the rocks to fall on them. But the church is not there. She has already been lifted, already seated, already clothed in white. Because she was ready, she was watching, she did not sleep, she kept oil in her lamp, and when the call came, she rose. And now, as the world reels, she rejoices. As the beast rises, she worships the Lamb. As wrath falls, she rests under the shadow of the Almighty. Because when you belong to Him, you do not face wrath, you are rescued from it. And what the world now endures is not your portion, not your fate, because you were not appointed to judgment, you were appointed to glory. That is why now is the time to choose. Not tomorrow, not later, not when the world makes sense again. Now, while grace still calls, while mercy still speaks, while the door is still open, because the hour is coming and the King is at the door.